is, many of this, I'm sure, is preaching to the choir, is an expression that we use here in the country, down the country in America. That fatherlessness, for those of you who probably already realize this, has led to a number of societal problems. When I saw this graphic, I said, this is perfect because despite all of these societal problems, unfortunately, our government just keeps watering it with money, 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 and that's not the cause. So this time, I would like to just explore some of the reasons behind the boy crisis. Again, many times we see statistics like this with our boys. We talk about a fatherless epidemic affecting 20 million people. And this is, chances are, this is an old statistic. When we talk about poverty and how that affects fatherless families, substance abuse, 10 times worse with those families without fathers, educational achievement, less than what would happen with a family where there's a father involved. These statistics came from a website that I recently discovered called fathers.com. One of the organizations that definitely the Boys Initiative, we're going to be looking at partnering with, because I see that they are really into the primary cause of the boy crisis, and that is that boys do not have fathers. Boys don't have fathers in the home physically. Some of them, unfortunately, don't have fathers in the home emotionally. By that, I mean, dad is home, but he's not really emotionally connected with his son or with his children and his family. So I like to use an expression that my colleague Warren Farrell uses in his book entitled The Boy Crisis. In fact, several items that I'll be sharing with you are directly from Warren's book. Warren talks about a child being dad rich or dad poor, that financially, emotionally, children are affected. Financially, rich or poor children, emotionally, rich or poor children, depending upon whether dad is in the home. And as I said, Warren discusses much of what I'm going to be talking about in his book entitled The Boy Crisis. Warren has done very extensive studies, and he and his co-writer, John Gray, many statistics that I'm sure you'll be very interested in. In this short 15-minute segment, all I'm going to be able to do is to whet your appetite to learn more. So hopefully you will go on to do more research into Warren's book or to other books in dealing with fatherlessness. What happens when a boy does not have a father? A series of things can happen because fatherlessness affects children, all children, boys and girls alike, but especially our boys. What happens with our boys, fatherlessness leads to a lack of purpose or a destructive sense of purpose. By that, I mean that that young boy is looking to show himself to be a man. And unfortunately, he may choose ways that really impact society negatively. As I said, fatherlessness has a greater impact upon boys, even with our girls, it affects our girls as well. Girls get from their father their sense of femininity. When she sees how dad treats mom, then she knows that is what she can expect from the young men in her life. And when that young boy sees how dad treats mom, he can see a model of how he, in turn, should treat his wife someday. It affects boys' emotional intelligence and also their marital potential. Boys are more vulnerable. They need that father. They need that man, that positive male role model in their life. The importance of instilling good character cannot be overemphasized, and that's one of the key roles of a father in a home, but that's missing I use this phrase often, that young men not restrained by a strong sense of morals, a strong character, knowing, feeling, and doing what is right, have an enormous potential to do damage. That testosterone and its aggressiveness, it is good. That's what boys should have. Unfortunately, what happens is that testosterone, that impulsivity and aggressiveness, if it's not being controlled by a strong sense of morals and character, it has an enormous potential to do damage. And that's something that I discuss in my book, Please Teach Me Like I'm a Boy. Boys who hurt us physically, psychologically, economically. When we think about the boys who have done, boys and young men who have done these horrific crimes in America, in school shootings and school violence, when we look at that and we look at the families of those boys, a huge percentage of them come from fatherless homes or where fathers aren't there to lead and guide them. Fatherlessness is also common to those targeted by sexual predators. It's common to those recruited by gangs. And there's a correlation to suicide. That father is so important to that young man. And when he doesn't have the father leading that family, then he seeks to get affirmation and familial relations with gangs or in a gang, a sense of belonging. I like what Warren talks about in his book also about the dad brain and how that is such an important part of a boy's upbringing and a girl's upbringing as well. And don't leave out our girls. A dad brain, let's talk about that just for a couple of minutes. The dad brain, Warren talks about how that is when hormonal changes and neurological changes happens when that man becomes a father. And when he's involved as an involved dad, some of those single man desires are replaced. In fact, that's even happening physiologically. Research has shown that there's a decrease in testosterone for that dad, and also an increase of oxytocin. Oxytocin is that bonding hormone. Estrogen, prolactin, we usually think about it in regards to women, but that bonding hormone also in regards to women, that starts to increase when that man becomes a father. Another colleague of mine, Michael Greene, in his book, in his many books, I think Michael has written close to 30 books. I strongly suggest you check out his literature, especially his book entitled Saving Our Sons and also the Minds of Boys. And he discusses as well the effect of fatherless homes on our boys. Michael talks about something called aggression nurturance. Physical interaction, tough talk, teasing, aggressive nonverbal gestures, that's how men bond with their sons. That's how boys bond with each other. A lot of times we women don't understand, why are they always wrestling? Why are they always punching? Why do they talk so mean to each other sometimes? But just like women have their ways of bonding, men and boys have their ways of bonding as well. In fact, teasing is a core component of a father teaching his son emotional intelligence. That's the way he teaches his son. So that son isn't so thin-skinned that the least little insult from a classmate or a playmate doesn't wound him, because dad has kind of toughened him up a little. Women, we have a nurturance also, but our nurturance is more in touching. So I like to show this. When mom is alone with the baby, a lot of eye contact and nurturing and touch. When dad is alone with the baby, it looks a little different. But does dad love his son? Yes, of course he loves his son. It's just that he interacts with his son or his daughter in a little way, a playful way. I like this one too. When dad is alone with the baby, that banana peel, baby trying to crawl, dad just playing with his son. But you know what? Children love this. And again, I urge you to get Warren Farrell's book and you can also visit his website as well. I also invite you to visit the website of the Boys Initiative at theboysinitiative.org. We're really excited about what's happening at the Boys Initiative. For one thing, that we have started networks where we ask you to join a network where you can read about what you can do if you're a teacher, or if you're a mom, or if you're a dad, or if you're a member of the faith community, because the faith community also has a huge part in the upbringing of our boys. So when you join a network, you're given ideas and suggestions of what you can do to help stem this boy crisis. Truly, as an author once said, if our boys are in trouble, so are we all. It is so important for us to do whatever we can. Another event that we're looking forward to at the Boys Initiative is coming up just in a few weeks, Helping Boys Thrive. It's a virtual summit. One of our speakers is going to be Michael Greene. He's going to be our keynote speaker. And Warren Farrell, that I just mentioned, Warren is going to be doing a workshop at this virtual summit. You can sit at home, enjoy it from the comfort of your home with your cup of coffee and your PJs. So I urge you to come. It's going to be Saturday, October 8th from 9:15 to 4. We're putting out a schedule of workshop times just in case you can't come for the entire time. You can at least get an idea of when certain speakers will be presenting if you want to zero in. Plus, for those of you attending this conference, I'm giving you a promo code. The promo code is Susan, in honor of Susan Chang, the originator of our conference. If you use that promo code Susan, it'll get you in free. So please come, put that on your calendar. Even if you can't come on the 8th, go ahead and register. What that will allow you to do is to access a recording of the entire day for up to 2 weeks after the event. So, Helping Boys Thrive, I urge all of you who have a heart for our boys to come and join us. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And at this point, I believe that I can take some questions.